So conditional statements, what are they? I said all cats have tails, so I would draw that as C arrow T. Notice it's only one letter. I mean, in this case, it's pretty obvious that cats and tails can be represented by C and T. But what if I said, like, people who eat spaghetti are typically messy eaters? Some people might write that as people who eat spaghetti are messy eaters. And this is not clear. Even if you wrote, people eat spaghetti are messy eaters or something like that, it's not as clear as it could be. What I usually just do is condense it down to the essence. Like, typically, if I had a statement like people who eat spaghetti are messy eaters, in the context it might be clear that S doesn't stand for anything but spaghetti eaters, and M doesn't stand for anything but messy eaters. So I might draw S arrow M for people who eat spaghetti are messy eaters, as long as it was clear from context that these letters are ambiguous. Because if you look at this first thing, you're probably going to be kind of confused. I'm like, what was I even writing? PWES? What did that stand for? What the purpose of diagramming is actually just like a shorthand for it's a shorthand for the information that you had from the English. The English is actually what's important, and understanding the English is what's important. The diagram is just like a placeholder. Because what's going on in the conditional reasoning questions where you should draw is they're giving you a bit more information than you can hold in your head. So making these drawings are just a convenient way to hold the information you already understood in your head by putting it on paper. That's what drawing is. It's not like a magical tool that gets you understanding of the question. If you understand what the question says, then you can make a correct diagram and use that to hold the information outside of your head. That is fundamentally what diagramming conditional statements is. So you don't get points for representing every word in the concept. You get points for getting the right answer and for using the diagrams to get to the right answer faster. So aim for short, clear diagrams. And what was I going to say? Sorry. Right. There are some situations where, you might need to draw two different letters to represent something because given the context it's going to be clearer. That's fine. I'm just saying, generally speaking, shorter is better. And here's the other thing that these letters let you do, and why it's important. It's not important to have all the letters. It's because these can stand for different concepts. So C arrow T, I said all cats have tails, but this can also be cats have tails, or it can be if you're a cat, then you have a tail, or it can be only things with tails are cats. I'm going to send a list of these later. But basically, this thing stands in for 25 different English sentence possibilities, or just in terms of the very basic possibilities. You could probably make hundreds of sentences with slightly different words that would reduce to this. And what this does is it lets us take a variety of English sentences and clearly represent it. So the specific words are not what's important. With these, you're reading the English for its logical meaning, extracting the logical meaning, and putting the logical meaning on paper. Someone just asked about the spaghetti thing, how could I draw, when I said people who eat spaghetti are messy eaters, how can I draw this if I didn't say all people that eat spaghetti are messy eaters? It's because in English, if I say people who eat spaghetti are messy eaters, or Americans like flags, logically speaking, that in English means all Americans like flags. All spaghetti eaters are mess eaters. That's not how we often say it in real life. Usually if we say something like Americans like flags, we mean that on average Americans like flags somewhat more than citizens of other countries like their flags. But logically speaking, that kind of sentence means all. So that's why we draw it like this. Whether or not we say the all, it's implied.